Hey guys, Louise here, and welcome back for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Today is a very special episode. So, as some of you may have heard, in the coming weeks, I will be teaching a free masterclass. So, this hour-long training is called the Reactive Dog Roadmap. It is our step-by-step process to resolve dog reactivity. So, this is the same protocol and steps that we use with our private clients that we've been using for the past 10 years. And we're giving it to you completely for free. So if you're interested in signing up for this masterclass while there's still time, I will link all of the information in the description box below. But today, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. In today's episode, we're going to be going over the first stop along the Reactive Dog Roadmap. Are you ready to hear what it is? So the first stop is meet your dog. Let's get started. So when it comes to meeting our dog and really truly getting to know them for who they are, there are three pieces that I like to really focus on. And the first piece is your dog's preferences. So, of course, we all know that our dogs like things that are specific to them. I've worked with dogs before where I was convinced that a high value treat was going to be a turkey meatball, and they liked it. But boy, did they get really excited. You know those mini milk bones? Yeah, loved them. They'd go bonkers for them. And that, for that dog, was high value. And so that's an individual preference. So preferences can be things like their preference for food, what type of treat they prefer, what type of toy they like to play with, and how they like to play. Some dogs prefer fetch, some dogs like tug, some dogs just want you to give them the ball, they want to possess the toy. Other dogs want you to make that toy come alive so they can chase it and tug and play keep away. So it's not just the type of toy, it's how you engage with them as well, and how you choose to, what you bring to that kind of dynamic with your dog. So I like to get very animated when I play with my dogs. I won't embarrass myself by explaining or giving you a demonstration, but really get into it with them and watch how they kind of reciprocate. So really understanding their body language and how your dog behaves and acts in response to something that you do is so valuable. So like if you try and play tug with your dog and they lick their lips and turn away, pretty clear indication that they don't want to play, right? And so that's not one of their preferences. But if you pick up a frisbee and all of a sudden the dog is really like, oh my gosh, I want it. Are you gonna throw it? What are you gonna do with it? Being able to really interpret their body language will help you kind of tease out what some of those preferences are. So what I'm going to do as we go through this first stop of the Reactive Dog Roadmap is I'm going to give you ways that you can apply this to a reactive dog, or give you little thoughts as to why this is important for your reactive dog. And let's take a little side path here really quick. If you aren't sure what a reactive dog is, reactive dogs are ones that have big feelings about normal things in the environment. We refer to them as triggers, things in the environment that trigger a specific response in your dog. So for many dogs, that can be just seeing another dog on a walk. It can be seeing another person on a walk. Sometimes people are fine, but joggers or people riding bicycles really trigger a reactive response. For some dogs, it's people coming to the home, or it's the delivery man. Good God, he's terrifying. It could be seeing other dogs and people while the dog is inside the car, or seeing dogs and people walk by outside the house. And for some dogs, that also includes wildlife and other things as well. So, and a reactive moment could be barking excessively, could be growling, could be lunging, could even be snarling and snapping using aggressive behaviors. Or it could be the dog getting really scared and kind of crouching, turning inward, tail tucking, trying to avoid the situation. So it's really two ends of the spectrum. And it's just behavior it's out of the ordinary, right? Like we'd expect a dog to be like, oh, I'm excited, or I want to avoid that. But we have these big ends of the spectrum. That's when we kind of coin that term or label that dog as reactive. I prefer the term sensitive, right? Because they're overly sensitive, they're overreacting to things. But Okay, let's bring it back to the roadmap. We've done our side path. I've helped you understand a little bit more about what a reactive dog is. So we're talking about your individual dog's preferences underneath kind of this first stop along the roadmap of meeting your dog. So why does it matter? Why does knowing your dog's preferences matter towards helping your dog's reactivity? Well, if we want to change the way our dog feels about something, which you guys have heard me talk about at length in the series on the Reactive Dog Chats. If we want to change how our dog feels, we have to know what they like, love, and enjoy, and use that as a way to create a stronger, more positive, or even neutral association towards the things that trigger them. Okay? So the second piece of this stop on the Reactive Dog Roadmap of meeting your dog is their stage of development or their age. So let's take a moment here to kind of talk about some of the most common stages of development that most of you are probably already pretty familiar with if you have a dog. So the one that we most commonly think of and that most obviously pertains to us as pet parents is the critical stage of socialization. Can be anywhere from 8 to 12 and sometimes 20 weeks, depending on the breed of dog. And it's that window of time where exposure is so important, careful exposure to the things in the world. So critical socialization is this time in a dog's life when they're sponges. Like they need to see all the things and get comfortable with all the things. We talk about having people to the home, having your dog meet other dogs, taking them to different stores that have different surfaces, right? Like a tile floor, a carpet floor, those kinds of things. I remember when Monzo was a puppy and the first time he walked on an aluminum dock, it was really interesting. He was like, whoa, what's this? What's happening? And he got used to it pretty quickly because he was a puppy and puppies often do. So that critical stage of socialization is the only time in a young dog's life when exposing them to things usually is enough. Okay. And generally speaking, whatever a puppy isn't exposed to during the critical stage of socialization, they're more likely to be nervous, fearful, avoidant of as an adult dog. Okay. So a second piece of a stage of development that we really kind of hone in on for our reactive dogs is the second fear phase. So the second fear phase, there's not a whole lot of information out there other than we see it a lot. And it can happen anywhere between 6 months and a year and a half. So it's a very big window of time. And it's usually about a week. And during this time, sometimes it comes and goes without notice. It just depends on the dog and their resiliency and the ability to cope with stress that they kind of inherit from their parents. But what we most commonly see in our clients' dogs is my dog's barking at the trash cans when we go on our walk and it's trash day. Or all of a sudden your dog they'll be walking down the street and they'll take a big wide circle around a mailbox. When every other day of your dog's life, they've walked right by a mailbox like it was no big deal. But all of a sudden, your dog is more aware of these normal things in the environment and they're a little apprehensive. Typically, it's just a 1 week window. They go through, we support them, we say, we've got you, don't worry, we'll protect you, I'll keep you safe from those big scary mailboxes. And then your dog's fine and they get through it. And other dogs kind of, what I see is they go through this second fear phase and they kind of stay there. They don't really gain that confidence after and recover from that. That might just be, again, because of genetics. Maybe they're more genetically prone to be more sensitive. It might be because they experienced a trauma during that week of that second fear phase. Could be for a lot of reasons. Okay, but that's the second most important piece as it refers to the stage of development. And the third piece of stage of development that we need to make sure that we're talking about for our reactive and sensitive dogs is social maturity. And this happens around the age of 2. I get the most phone calls and emails from pet parents whose dogs have developed reactivity and they're 2 years old. It's very common at this time of a dog's life for them to decide that they're no longer pro-social. They're no longer actively seeking friends. Okay, their friend requests are down and they're more independent. They maybe have like a curated friend list of dogs that they really enjoy, but they don't really want to go to daycare anymore. They don't really want to romp and play with your neighbor's dog. And maybe they're a little rude about it. Maybe they're a little pushy. Maybe seeing so many dogs is kind of difficult for them at this time. They're all grown up and they're independent and they're on their own and they don't need the company of so many dogs anymore. Again, this is very individual as well. Okay. So this isn't just a blanket statement. It really depends on the individual dog. So at social maturity, we typically see, especially with multi-dog households, you might see the younger dog who is now 2 years old starting to be have a little bit of conflict with the other dogs, whether that's around food or space or other resources. Or we may see them start to develop some sensitivity to seeing so many dogs in their day-to-day life, whether that's on walks or in any other areas. Okay. So we have those stages of development. Now, why does it matter? I kind of already answered this, but why does it matter? Well, when your puppy's in that critical stage of socialization, sometimes puppies are naturally afraid and timid. And so if your puppy is reacting at that age, boy, do we need to be super careful and make sure they get a lot of help really quickly while they're still in that critical stage of life to make sure that we do as best we can to make sure that this isn't them for their entire life. Why does it matter during that second fear phase? Because dogs are especially vulnerable during that week of their life where they're all of a sudden very nervous of things. Okay. So big traumas can happen during that time if we're not careful. And social maturity, why does it matter? Because it's the most common time that dogs develop dog and human reactivity. So we need to be on the lookout for that stage of life so that we can make sure we're helping and protecting our dogs from making any further negative associations. So the third piece of this stop along the Reactive Dog Roadmap of meet your dog is the biggest one, and it is their breed. So here's the thing. When I first got Monzo, when I first kind of jumped into the world, because I really jumped into the world of dog training and really living with your dog as a companion. I grew up with dogs, but it was different back then. One of the things I was taught was that it's all how you raise them, right? Like there's no such thing as bad dogs. There's just bad owners, right? And that breed doesn't matter. This is just a brown dog. This is a red dog. This is a yellow dog. Their breed doesn't matter. Tell me in the comments below if you've heard that before. It's all how you raise them, and that breed doesn't matter. I'm really sorry, you guys, but I'm here to tell you that that's not true. It couldn't be more further from the truth. Your dog's breed is everything. Your dog's breed is everything. And if you don't know your dog's breed, that's okay. You can still make some educated guesses based on their behavior, their preferences, their individual needs, and the way that they look. So why does breed matter? Because we have selectively bred dogs for specific behaviors forever. So I want you to think of, let's use a cattle dog. I'll pick on my own breeds today. I want you to imagine a 12-week-old cattle dog puppy living in a home with 3 small children that like to, and they're homeschooled, so they're home all the time and they're running around and playing and having a great time. And that cattle dog puppy is running around, nipping at their heels, barking at them, probably also destroying their toys. So why do you think that's happening? Do you think that that dog's breed doesn't matter? That we can just teach the dog to be calm? Now, hold on, we can teach that dog to be calm, but we can't undo the significant selective breeding that has been done. You can think about a dog's breed-specific traits and their specific behaviors that we, selected them for as their genetics being like software that comes with your computer. So like when I got this computer, it came with this video editing program. I'm sure there's a way I can take it off, but I don't know how. So it came with my computer. And anytime I open a video on my computer, it opens in that program. Yes, I'm sure I can go back, but humor me, you guys, okay? So my computer has this software built into it. When I want to open a video, this is what happens. I can't get rid of it. Your dog has software that's built into them. Yeah, we can probably try and work around it, but we can't uninstall it. We can't uninstall herding instincts from a herding dog. We can't uninstall protective instincts from a livestock guardian dog. We can't uninstall your dog's prey drive from a terrier, okay? And so why does this matter? Because we need to meet our dog's breed-specific needs. Now, I've already said too much because that's going into the second stop along the Reactive Dog Roadmap, but it really does matter. And as it relates to reactivity, let me just give you one more example. I want you to imagine, let's say, a blue tick coonhound. I grew up with coonhounds and bloodhounds, so again, I'm only picking on my own breeds here. Blue tick coonhound. Now he lives in an apartment building, and his family works a 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday, like everybody else does, except for me and Jake, because we're dog trainers. We work all the time. So this dog lives a great life, but through the hours of 9 to 5, he's at home in a crate. So when mom and dad come home, he gets a nice walk, he gets exercise, and then he comes home, goes to bed, wakes up, does it again the next day. Now, no one would be surprised if this dog started barking at other dogs and people on his walk. And why would that be? Because he's a coonhound. He's a coonhound. He needs to run and scream and play and sniff and do things that coonhounds are supposed to do. That doesn't mean this family isn't taking excellent care of their dog, because they probably are. But what it means is this reactivity might not really be reactivity. It might just be that we aren't appreciating this dog for who they truly are and meeting this dog for what they really need. Now, if you guys are interested in learning about the rest of the stops along the Reactive Dog Roadmap, I would love to tell you about them. So make sure you head to the description below and click on the link. I'll put it here in the video as well. I invite you to go to redponydog.com/roadmap. There are 3 times for this class that you can choose from, so I'm sure there's one that will work with your schedule. And guess what? If there's not, I'm going to send you a replay. So I'd love for you to come live, because we're going to have so much time for Q&A. But if you can't, sign up and you can always catch me on the replay. I'll send that out to everybody who signs up. But head over to redponydog.com/roadmap, select your time and sign up, because we still have so much to talk about. So today we talked about the first stop, which is to meet your dog. The second stop is meet your dog's needs. The third stop is how to set them up for success in every scenario where they're around a trigger. The next stop is skill building. So why is that important? Why does that matter? After that, we're talking about behavior change. So if you're interested in learning more, if you want our step-by-step process to resolve your dog's reactivity, the very process that we use with our private clients, I want you to head over to redponydog.com/roadmap. Sign up. I'd love to see you there. Let's hang out some more. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Reactive Dog Chat. You know what's up. Give your dog a treat from me, tell them I say hi, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.